The one and only Ali. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
And then I started doing more research and I found you, and I hate doing videos, but the coaching calls was one of the things. And then you had another video that caught my eye where it was specific, outside the PMP, but I knew this is real content. This is things that will be on exam, right?
I did hard work for sure, but I think the follow-up, sir, you did. I don't know how you managed to do the follow-up. With one particular student like me, you have hundreds of students. You are just keeping an eye on each of the students. So after my hard work, I can say that the credit goes to you, sir. That is for sure.
Hi Amir, good morning. Yes, I cleared the exam. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. And this has happened only because of the customized roadmap and mocks, and you always keep on asking us to do proper RCA, detailed RCA. It happened only because of the detailed RCA. Yes, this RCA helped me a lot.
Thank you for all this guidance and support you gave me, Mr. Amir. Thanks for our team.
So I was just looking at his post, who cleared the PMP, and he used to post the success stories on daily basis. So I reached out to Alina and I asked her how is his program or something. So she said you can trust him and you should join this program if you are looking for it.
It was a very customized base feedback that I was getting from sir, from you.
So yes, follow-up is very important, and thank you very much for that. It made me accountable. If you didn't ask me this often, I would have slacked off more.
I would say your course was super important. I think this was the main part, once you understand the course, and then I think the mocks were super important. Your emphasis on mocks, you kept nagging us that, get this mock done, do RCA. All of this was super helpful because questions were they were similar. So yeah, mocks were, there are so many mocks that you have, and if you do all of them, I'm pretty sure anybody who goes, who does them can easily clear a PMP.
Amir, first of all, thank you so much. I think without your guidance, it took me 1 year, one complete year. I was preparing for PMP through books and everything. So I was giving some mocks also available online, and I was not able to, have that confidence that I'll be able to clear. But I'm telling you, after attending the classes, especially after doing the mocks, doing the RCAs, I was feeling confident enough that yes, I can attempt it. And the day you told me to book your exam, I still asked you that are you sure that I can give the exam? And you said yes, you're ready.
First of all, I thank you a lot for the privilege, because when I started encounter with your program through LinkedIn, so some of your thoughts, always motivating me, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. So I always follow you, almost everything, all your journeys. I watch all of them, even the one that they speak in your local language.
So that was not an easy journey, and it would not be possible without you. I really appreciate the support. He was always available for my questions and always put me in the right direction. And actually, if I want to say how was the journey, my journey started 2 years back. Then I first called you for the SP, and then you directed me to PMP, and then we did SP after that, and then you tricked me to do the PGMP.
Thank you so much, and again, Amir, thank you so much, and your mocks are really good. I mean, everyone should do your mock for sure, and then they will be all prepared for the exam. And trust your program.
And then you came with your follow-ups, and that kind of really boosted me. Those daily follow-ups, making sure that I was getting the mocks that I needed to do completed and following up on me, it really boosted my motivation again. And as I was started doing those mocks, I got an opportunity for a job which required me to have PMP, so I had to go for PMP before I get the interview.
Mostly coaching goal is for you understand how you will solve the question. Mostly it is like that. We can only do the 10 or 12 questions, maybe less than that. But main thing is it will come into your bones that you have to do elimination technique. So you cannot go just, okay, this is the answer, I will go directly put this answer. That is the main thing. It will come into you that you have to do elimination technique. That is the best thing for coaching on.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, with the right guidance from yourself, I managed to do good in the exam and to clear the PMP. I would say that your approach was really helpful because I'm not that type of a person who would sit there and read a lot of theoretical things to get things done. I'm more of a practical person who would prefer practicing over sticking to the theoreticals. And
I would definitely say that the root cause analysis for me was the key. And here's why. Is some people try so hard to memorize all the processes and how they're all linked together. And if you do this, then you got to do that. And some people, maybe they think that way. That was very hard for me. It was just a lot to memorize. I'm not Amer Ali. I can't do that. So for me, just the process of actually answering the questions with your technique of process of elimination. And then if you're left with always like two answers, which one do you do? And if you get it wrong, you have to go do the root cause analysis. So thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you very much for everything. Fantastic. I would not have done as well as I had done if I hadn't had the foundation that you gave me, for sure.
Who here wants to be successful? Raise your hands. First of all, welcome. Happy Ramadan to everyone who celebrates Ramadan, and good to have in this session. This is an Agile session. We have started the master classes. We already did stakeholder communication, team. In addition to that, I also started another video series, and that is a 10-minute, 15-minute video. How many of you have watched the previous stakeholder communication masterclass, as well as team masterclass, risk masterclass, and how many of you have watched the 10-minute Agile video? Put something in the chat box. And Askar, Tahmina, I want you guys to message in the group that class is started so that other people can also join. Saifullah, okay, awesome. Okay. Saif also messaged in batch 12 and 1, both of them in main group. Z-Tech, okay, you watched. Okay, perfectly fine. Let's make this class and see what we can do here. By the way, guys, my batch is starting tomorrow. If you are my student, you can join the class. There is no additional charges. You just need to book the exam and you can join the class. If you are batch 1 and you do not have money to even book the exam, you can still join the class. And if you're not my student, join the program. Enroll for it. Okay. Okay, Agile. What is Agile, guys? What is Agile? Put in the chat box. What is Agile? What is Agile? What's Agile for you? What is Agile for you? Agile is a mindset, and that mindset is based on 4 values. I like to call these 4 values as 4 pillars of the entire thing. This stands on the pillar, and that pillar consists of 2 major things, and those major things need to be understood. What those 2 major things are. First, I want delivery in parts which is called incremental delivery, and I keep getting that delivery. That is the only thing. If you understand, everything else we do in Agile is to support these things. First thing, I want the delivery in parts, which is called as incremental delivery. I want the delivery in parts, which is called as incremental delivery, and I want to keep getting the delivery. That's it. Everything else is a noise. That is the real Agile thing. Okay. One more time. What's the purpose of Agile? I want to get delivery in parts, quick delivery, and I want to keep getting that delivery. That everything else change, everything else reorient to balance these two elements: incremental delivery and continuous delivery. Okay. Now, in order to do that, we have 4 values of Agile. 2 values of Agile, first and second, talk about the customer. Third value, talk about the product. And fourth value, talk about the team. Why? Team is going to work on the product and team is going to deliver to the customer. Agile literally believe customer is the king. Agile believes what customer want, when the customer want, give it. That is what customers need is. Agile says that if customer says it's day, you agree with the customer, it's day. If the customer says it's night, I agree with the customer, it's night. Okay, I do not want to get in a conflict with the customer. I'm not saying just do what customer says, but don't disagree with him unnecessarily. Okay, so the first value that corresponds best to the customer is customer collaboration over contract negotiations. What does that mean? This simply means I collaborate with the customer. I give it to the customer. I provide it to the customer. Whatever the customer says, I am here for him. Okay, contract is important. Let's not put this thing. Contract is still important. Okay, contract is important, but customer is more important. Customer is someone who is responsible to get the delivery. He is the one who agreed to the contract. So customer, working with the customer, giving it to the customer, providing the customer the need is more important than the contract. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. This is, if I have to choose out of all 4 value, single value that is a cornerstone of Agile. Okay, that is a cornerstone of Agile. I would choose this value. Customer collaboration, work with the customer, guide the customer over contract. Customer is number 1 priority. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Now, the second value adds more fuel to this value. The second value says that respond to a change over following up line. What do I mean by that? The second value says that what does the customer want? Customer want consistent delivery. Customer want, if he wants to change something, he has the option to do that. If customer want to not change something, that's also possibility for him. right? So if the customer want to change something, let him change. Okay, respond to a change over following a plan. This is the second most important thing in Agile. These two values, these two values, if you understand them, if you get them, right? If you get them, you get your PMP. That's it. These two values are the cornerstone of entire Agile for you. The entire Agile for you, these two values are the most important thing. If the customer want to change it, let it be. If the customer does not want to change it, still it's okay. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation, respond to a change over following up. Third principle or third value is about the product. The product here it says working software over comprehensive documentation. Now, it's important to understand here, what does this value is putting into that? This value is saying that whatever works for you, whatever is your product, instead of making it perfect, this is the real concept here. Instead of making your product perfect, deliver it, give it to the customer. You do not need to document every single thing. Give it to the customer, let us experience and get back it. Something that is tangible, something that is usable, something that we can immediately take action. Immediately take action. Okay, minimum viable product. It's more important, it's more relevant, it's more creative than the documentation. So I see this not just as a documentation point of view. I see that working software over comprehensive documentation, like some planning is okay, but if you continuously plan, and do not take any action, that will have zero value in Agile. Instead of that, identify what you need, make a plan for it, give it to the customer, and get the feedback from there. Working software over comprehensive documentation. Okay. The last is about the people who are gonna do the task. Individual and their interaction over processes and tools. How individual interact with each other, how individual work with each other, how individual understand each other. It is more important, it is more critical than processes and tools. Processes are not bad, tools are not bad, it's okay, they are there for purpose. What is the purpose of that? I have one tool, this, right, whiteboard, then I have this writing board, then I have this, what is there, iPad. All these three tools are being used to communicate information to you, and I use all of them. But the most important thing is that how I interact with you, how I work with you, how I guide you. If I am not able to achieve that goal, if I'm not able to get that message across, right? If I'm not able to get that thing, right? Then nothing else matter. Then nothing else matter. Okay, individual and their interaction over processes and tools. You see, in Agile, a project manager act like a scrum master. A project manager act like a servant leader. This is the job of the project manager, to build a psychological safe environment in which people can make mistakes and learn from them. As a matter of fact, we do retrospective. That's a lesson learned meeting for exactly the same reason. The sole purpose of retrospective or a lesson learned meeting is to guide the people, is to identify the problems and work into it. This is your job as a project manager to build a team. Those people are motivated. Those people work together and identify it. They make their own processes. Then they move, as they move, they improve their processes. Process is important, people are more important. In Agile, my job is to make T-type leader. What do I mean by T-type leader? Clip it, StreamYard. What is T-type leader? People who have in-depth knowledge of one domain. Like they know something in very detail, but they also have idea about other domain. In-depth knowledge of one domain and width of other domains. In-depth knowledge of one domain and width knowledge of other domains. They know those things. They understand those things. Okay? In-depth knowledge of one domain and idea of other domains. Okay, why do we even need T-type leader? What is the purpose of having a T-type leader? How it adds value there? Now that's an important thing here. Why do we even need T-type leader? What is the purpose of having a T-type leader? When you get an in-depth knowledge of one domain and widespread knowledge of other domains, so in case if someone leaves, that person can take place of that. Right? So this is called T-type leadership that we do. So that the team, I like somebody put the answer to make a team multi-domain, to make team self-organizing, multi-domain, having in-depth of other domains. Yes, all these are right answer. In order to avoid single point of failure, if one person leave the organization, the other person is there to handle that. The other person is there to work with them. The other person is there to guide them. Okay? Having this T-type leadership is very important to make a self-organizing team. Self-organizing team. Are we clear about the 4 values of Agile? I'm gonna give you today for the first time some concepts of Agile which we consider as default. One, customer is a reasonable person. Like we are changing things, but he's a reasonable person. He's not asking unnecessary demands from us. We consider that. Team knows how to do and will do their best. Team knows how to do and they will do their best, right? We consider them as a motivated individual. They are motivated individual. Team members are coachable. Can learn and coachable. That is why That is why, as a project manager, I never fire a team member. I identify the training need requirement, I provide that training, and I measure the training outcomes. That is very important. Provide the training, measure the training outcomes in Agile. Okay? Teams up. Scrum Master, Agile PM is knowledgeable and he coaches everyone. Product owner knows what is valuable. These are some of the points that are very important that people sometimes confuses. Okay, he's a voice of customer product owner. You can also say PO is voice of customer. Then a very important thing that in Agile we consider is that we want to fail early. This is the concept that many people cannot understand. When I say we want to fail early in the Agile, people say that why do you want to fail early? What's the problem here? Understand this graph. Time, cost. If I am here and I fail that the project cannot change, that the project is not successful, or if I go there and fail here, what will be more costly to me? What is bad for the customer? Point A or point B? Yes, fail fast. I like the concept. What is bad for customer? Not good. Z-Tech? What is bad for customer? Point B, you have spent more money, Amrit, you have wasted more money and you have spent time. So point B is very bad for customer. Maybe here we have spent $100 and here I have spent $1 million. I want to know, will the project work or not? Quickly. Okay, so this is a very, very important thing that we need to look into that. This is a very important thing we do in Agile. Then the next concept in Agile. Retrospective, also known as lesson learned meeting, can be done anytime. It is at the end of the sprint, but they can be done at any time. The lesson learned meetings can be done at any time. Whenever we need to identify the root cause analysis, it's not necessary it happens at the end of the sprint. It can be done at any time. Very important. Product owner will always add user stories to product backlog. Many people think that when a change comes, okay, the change is not needed, anyone can put it in the product backlog. No, all things must come to the product owner. Product owner will put the product backlog and then prioritized by high value, high risk. Very important. We do planning. We do more planning in Agile as compared to predictive. Now you may disagree here. Amir, in predictive we make a project management plan. In predictive, everything is about that. Right? Everything is about that. Let me put it this way. We do more planning in Agile in a adaptive, also known as a rolling way, or progressive elaboration. We plan at high level, okay? We plan at high level, and then as we move forward, we plan it more and more and more detailed. So what do? So let's say we will make January till December, okay? So we want to make a product, we decide on the January, at the end of the December, we want to make a product. Then we make a project. We make a roadmap. Then we further divide it into releases. Release can be called as quarters. Then we further divide it into sprints. Sprint 1, Sprint 2, Sprint 3, Sprint 4, etc. Okay, so what does this release and sprint mean? So in order to understand that, let's say your year have 12 months, okay? Your year have 12 months. If you divide it equally into 4 quarters, that is your 4 release. And sprint can be a duration. Sprint is also known as iteration. Both mean the same thing. Sprint is equal to iteration. Both mean the same thing. It's a duration of 1 to 4 weeks. We take down the entire work in Agile. We divide it either into 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, or 4 week. At the start of the project, we decide, okay, this will be the work that we will do. Okay, this is how we are going to plan. Normally, 1 week is very less, 4 week is very much. We use sprint as 2 weeks normally. Okay, we do work in sprints. Sprint 1, Sprint 2, Sprint 3, Sprint 4, Sprint 5, Sprint 6. And how do we do work? I'll quickly go through that, and then it's a time box somewhere. How do we do that? So let's say your sprint is 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, 1 to 4 weeks, but we decided 2 weeks. Okay, at the start of the sprint, we have sprint planning meeting. You see, planning, where we make sprint backlog, which is basically list of things we do in sprint. Then on daily basis, we have a daily stand-up coordination meeting where we review progress. What you did yesterday, what you are going to do today. Is there any roadblocks, impediments? It's a 15-minute status sharing meeting. This is happening under the structure of sprint. We have sprint, that's the entire 1 to 4 weeks, let's say 2 weeks. Start, we have sprint planning. In sprint planning, I'm making a sprint backlog, which is a list of things you do in sprint. It is agreed by the product owner, it is agreed by the team, what we are going to do in this sprint. Then daily stand-up, where we review what we have done yesterday, what is our plan today, is there anything into that way. Okay, roadblocks, impediments in there. Then once the sprint ends, we have a sprint review that consists of 2 parts. Part A, demo. What happens in demo? Now I have agreed in the sprint backlog, I made a sprint goal. That what I'm gonna do into that. So let's say the sprint backlog has 10 items. Those items can be called as user stories. Like requirements in Agile are called as user stories. Agile like to use their own fancy wording. So requirements in Agile are called as user stories. Okay, so we get all the user stories. I'll get to the demo in a minute. What happens? Product owner, who is basically, we discussed, is a voice of customer. He goes to customers, sponsors, stakeholders. He collects their requirements, also known as user story, and put in a document that is called product backlog. Okay, he goes to them, he collects all the user stories, he put them in a document that is called product backlog. This is the job of a product owner. In some organizations, you can call him business analyst. It is his job to collect the requirement. He takes the requirement and put in a document that is called product backlog. Okay, Scrum Master is also there acting as a facilitator. Okay, once we have all the user stories, now he goes back again to them and asks them to put priority using Moscow over 100 points. Moscow is must have, should have, could have, would likely to have, but maybe next time. So basically what we are doing here, we are setting the priority. What is the number one priority for us? What is the number two priority for us? What is the number three priority for us? We are setting priority here for the requirement as high value in that. What are the most valuable? What are the most valuable thing? Okay, what are the most valuable thing in the product? What do you need? High value, high value, high value, high value, medium value. So what are the must requirement? What are the should requirement? What are the could requirement? What are the would likely requirement? What are the requirements that you need in the project? Right? We do that. What are the requirements into that? Then team comes, they look at the each user story, let's say A. They look two things. One, how much time, also known as effort, which is called story points. So how many, you have a user story, how many this user story point will be. Story point means, in simple terms, how much time it will take to complete a user story. Team come, they are the T-type leader, they know how to complete. This is one of the important thing in Agile. We know how much time it will take for a person to complete. They will look into that, how much time it is going to complete. They will decide, okay, this is how much time it's gonna take. They look into that, okay? And they use three techniques, by the way, to calculate story points. Idle hours, just calculating, okay, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, or affinity. Like this is, I don't know how much time it will take, because Agile is a lightweight estimation. They say, okay, this is a small user story, this is a medium user story, this is a large, this is a XL, XXL, or using Fibonacci series. As we move forward, the user story become more complex. They calculate the story points among that, and if they are disagreeing with each other, they use planning poker to build consensus among them. And now the first thing of our story, of our user story, is we calculate story point. So far clear to everybody? Put yes or no, and please message in the group that the class is in progress. Other people can come and listen to this Agile class. Okay, everyone do that. So we calculate story points. Second thing they do for each user story is calculate their risk. They calculate risk of each user story. They calculate risk of each user story. So now, before even start of a sprint, I have my high value, high risk of each user story, high value, medium risk, high value, low risk, and I know the story points of each risk. I know the story points of each user story. Now, before the sprint one start, I told you we like to fail early. So we will do spike 0, spike, or also known as sprint 0. In sprint 0, we'll do architectural spike. Spike is a time set aside to handle risk. Spike is a time you set aside to handle risk. At the start, as soon as you collect the user story, you get the story points. I do architecture spike in a sprint 0. Before even I make a sprint backlog, I do sprint 0. I do architecture spike, also known as POC, proof of concept. Is it even possible to do that or not? Is it even possible to do that or not? Once the proof of concept passes, now I go to sprint 1, where from product backlog, let's say product backlog has 10,000 user story. I say I can do in one sprint 20 story points. What you can do in one sprint, what you can do in one sprint becomes velocity of sprint. What you can do in one sprint becomes the velocity of that sprint. What you can do in one sprint becomes the velocity of that sprint. Okay, what is velocity? Put in the chat box. So let's say in sprint 1, going back, in sprint 1, I say that my velocity is 20 story points. I take that thing in the sprint goal. First thing, the team is having a definition of ready. Before they start the user story, they make sure they do have the equipment, tools to complete the user story. Okay, that is definition of ready. Now, in the sprint review, coming back to that, before I give demo to the client, I need to make sure the user story is completed according to my definition of done. Definition of done is a checklist. I have a checklist. Before I give it to the customer, I show to the customer, I make sure that user story is completed. That user story is completed. Then I show to the client. Okay, definition of done. So actually we are working in a test-driven development. We are working in a test-driven development. I already know how this thing is going to look like. I already know how this is going to look like. That's how I make definition of done. So once I feel it is according to definition of done, I show it to the customer. If customer consider it is according to its acceptance criteria, again a checklist. Again a checklist. When a customer feels it is according to acceptance criteria, again a checklist. It goes, they accept it, it goes into a third document in Agile, which is called product increment. It goes into the third document in Agile that is called product increment. So definition of done, checklist that you do, acceptance criteria, client has, and product increment when it got accepted. What if it get rejected? If it get rejected or it is incomplete. If it get rejected or it is incomplete. If it get rejected or it is incomplete, it does not go to sprint backlog. Every sprint has its own sprint backlog. It does not go to sprint backlog. That sprint backlog is done. It goes back to product backlog. It goes back to product backlog. Here, the customer can also give new requirements. It's the best time. The customer can give any requirement anytime, but this is the best time to give the requirement. Okay. So what does product backlog has after demo? It has old user stories which did not came into the current sprint, incomplete user stories, rejected user stories, new user stories that the customer may have given it. Are we clear about what do we have in the product backlog? Are we clear about what do we have in the product backlog? Okay. Now, since the client is there, the second part of review, sprint review, is grooming. Product owner with this customer and Scrum Master will reprioritize the product backlog. Make it ready for the next sprint. Product owner will reprioritize the product backlog, make it ready for the next sprint, making sure it is ready for the next sprint. This is called grooming of the product backlog, reprioritizing. Maybe the old user stories are still the number one priority, or some other user stories take precedence. Maybe some other user stories have become more important, more relevant in the project. I don't know, we don't know. So they become more important, more relevant into that. Sprint planning, daily stand-up, sprint review, having two parts. The final stage is sprint retrospective. It's a lesson learned meeting. It's a lesson learned meeting where the team comes and they share the information. The team comes, they share how we can improve into that. It has 5 stages. Set the stage, gather data, generate insights. The insights that you have generated, you decide which one you are going to do or implement, decide what to do, and close the retrospective. It's a workshop. So this is the lesson learned part. How we can improve into that. So we keep doing that sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, sprint 4, sprint 5, sprint 6. So if I put it in the year, 1 year, let's say January, December. So January, February, March, April. So January have sprint 1. You produce something, then sprint 2, then February has 2 sprints, and in this way we keep moving. Sprint 3, sprint 4, everyone will have a new sprint backlog, and the product backlog remains same, product increment remains same. This is how we keep giving it, and deliver the product to the customer. Okay. Key elements to understand here, there are 3 roles: product owner, scrum master, development team. He decides value, what is important, like what to do. He decides what goes into product backlog. He can cancel the sprint if he considers it is not valuable. Team does the work, calculate effort, and is responsible at the end of the day. He's a coach, he's a servant leader. His job, motivate team, act like a facilitator so that there is no problem in between them. Okay, so there is no problem among the team members, so that there is no problem that the team can have. This is product owner, 3 roles. Then 3 artifact, product backlog, list of all user stories prioritized by high value, high risk. Sprint backlog, what you are gonna do in this sprint, what you are going to do in this pattern sprint. Every sprint will have its own sprint backlog. Product increment, what get accepted by the client. Then we had 5 events. Sprint 1 to 4 weeks duration. Then sprint planning, where we plan for sprint. Daily stand-up, where we review the progress. Sprint review consists of 2-part: demo, where I show they accept or they reject, and grooming, where I reprioritize it. And sprint retrospective, lesson learned meeting. 3 checklists: definition of ready, am I ready to start the work, do I have tools, etc., etc. Definition of done, checklist through which the team knows okay, this thing is completed, acceptance criteria, and the checklist through which the client accept. Definition of ready, definition of done, acceptance criteria. These are the three things that we use, three checklists that we use. Then there are three ways to estimate user story. Idle hours, Fibonacci series, and affinity estimation. I actually forgot that. Then we use prioritization technique, Moscow, 100 points, Monopoly, and this way to that. That is your Scrum for you. Now, another rule that we use in the Agile is we always, which one was it? 10th, 11 rule. We always use information radiators to share progress. We always use information radiators to share progress. We do not have any communication plan that I will give it to you, okay, use this to share the progress. No, I use information radiators to share the progress. Okay, what are the information radiators? So let's say this is a burn down chart. I had 100 story points, and let's say 10 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. I estimated on day 10 the work will be completed. This is your ideal burn down chart. Okay. Then as the day progress, we get the progress. This is your actual burn down chart as the progress happens. Now, burn up, burn down chart is graphical representation tool. You are representing how much work is remaining. How much work is remaining in burn down. How much work is remaining. That is the purpose of burn down chart. But it is also a data analysis tool. Let's say there are 3 points A, B, C, D. I want to check where the progress is. We can see on A we just started, it is on schedule. What about B? If I extrapolate B, it will be able to complete the work quicker. So any point that is below the actual progress and it shows in the burn down chart that you are downside, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. You are ahead of schedule. SPI is greater than 1. Okay. If you are here on C, it is SPI 1, you are on schedule. Neither good nor bad. We are on progress. That's good. Okay. What about point D? If I extrapolate point D, it will take more time to complete the work. So it is SPI is less than 1. Burn down chart is also data analysis technique. Okay. The burn down chart is also your data analysis. That's a burn down chart. Similarly, we have burn up chart. Okay, this is ideal burn up. I'll use the same 100 story points and 10 days. So if this is as you move forward, you're progressing here, point A, point B, here I'm putting point C, I'm putting point D. Again, it is data representation as well as data analysis team. It is exactly opposite of burn up, burn down. Burn up shows you how much work is done. That shows you how much work is remaining. This shows you how much work is done. So if I point out point A, SPI is 1, it's the same. If I use this point, okay, and extrapolate it, I'll see I can do more work in the same time. So when it is upside, SPI is greater than 1, I am happy phase. Whereas if I extrapolate this one, I cannot do that task even this much in completed time. So I am sad, SPI is less than 1. Burn up, burn down chart, both progress sharing chart, both are critical for your project. Important distinction is to look into that, how we are working into both of them and how we can identify these things. Okay, so burn up, burn down chart. Now, somebody asked, please explain the spikes in the burn down chart. Let me just complete the entire content, then we will go through all the question answers, whatever you have. We are just done with that. Interesting thing, by the way, he asked it and I was there to let it. This is your schedule, let's say, 100 story points. Throughout the process, if suddenly, if you look into that, there is a sudden upside, it goes suddenly above side in burn up chart, or in burn down chart, it suddenly goes down or above. And exam asks, what is this? It's a spike. Spike can be done, is a time you set aside. Asghar, spike is a time you set aside to handle risk. Okay, time you set aside to handle risk. So if it goes up, it means scope has been added, more work has been added into the actual thing. If it goes sudden down and then normal, the more work has been removed from it. Okay, it can be both ways, scope creep or scope removal. Askar, is it clear to you? Then we have a task board, which is simply status board, also known as. Just showing the status of the user story. Like what's your, just like your trackers, the trackers that we use, that is a status board. Okay, status board shows the status of your progress. Then the final information radiators we use is Kanban board. Kanban board identifies your constraint, bottleneck in it. How do we do that? We set work in progress limit. Okay, let's say 2 are there, 2 is there, 2 is there, just for easiness. Okay, it identifies a bottleneck. It identifies what is stopping your work. So a user story came here, let's say A, B, C, D. A came here, B here. Once the B is completed, B is moved, A is completed, A moved here, we took C. When the B is completed, B moves here, okay? We pulled, it is based on pull system. You are pulling the work, okay? Or also known as flow. Let's say B is, now A is done, A came here, okay? C came here. It just shows you the work into it. By the way, right now, if I ask you, the question come from, this is 1, 2, 3. Which is your bottleneck? Which is your bottleneck? If this question come in the exam just like this, what would you say? What is your bottleneck? G, what would be your bottleneck? I'll give you 10 more seconds. Here, the limit is 2. We have only one user story. Here, limit is 2. We only have one. Limit is 2. We have 2 user story. So where the limit is full, it becomes the bottleneck, right? It becomes the bottleneck. Another interesting concept in Kanban is that time a user story is requested, the time it got completed. One more time, the time the user story is requested, the time the user story got completed, time a user story is requested, the time the user story got completed, right? It is called lead time. The time user story requested, the time the team actually started working on it, to the time it completed is called cycle time. Both lead time and cycle times are used to reduce the waste. I'll repeat one more time. Lead time is the time a user story is requested. A user story is requested, the time it got completed. That's lead time. Cycle time is the time your team actually started working into it and it got completed. So you went to a restaurant and the order is there. You went to the restaurant and the order is there. You gave the order, the time the order got completed is your lead time. That time actually the kitchen staff started working into it and it got completed is a cycle time. Okay, this is all about Agile, just the last important element. Whenever there's a communication problem, always co-locate the people. There's a communication problem, put everyone on one location. In this way, you can handle all the challenges in the Agile. So this is the entire Agile summary for you. And if there is any question, please do ask. In the meantime, now we will do the question answers for each topic. Okay, and this is the first time we are gonna do these questions. We have never done these questions, and my team made this question specifically for this master class. So these are the interesting questions that we will have today. So anyone has any confusion before I move to the question answer, please do ask. Of course, use your 7-step formula to solve these question answers. Anyone has any question, please do ask. In the meantime, if you have not liked the video, I see very few people have liked the video. So I want to ask you, please do like the video and just put in the comment, I just like the video if you had not liked the video before. Okay, let's do the question answers. By the way, while I'm doing question answers, open your PMP booklet. Well, I want you to read the topic of Agile in it, so that we get the clarity of Agile also. Okay. Please read this. Thank you. Ji, please read PMP booklet. After retrospective, there will be the new sprint. New things will be there. The CN maker remains same. Ji, complete this. I'll give you 10 more seconds, please. If you're not my student, you can buy this booklet for $20 and like on my website, and those $20 actually goes to charity because I'm just gonna give it kind of a free to you. But you, if you're my student, you get it for free. If you are not my student, buy this booklet on my website, and those $20 I will get 17. All those 17 goes to charity. So I want everybody. This is for Ramadan actually. Everyone who buy this booklet or any of my book, I'm gonna give it as a donation. Just contact me on my number. Once you read it, just message done. So osmotic communication, I didn't explain, is basically when you sit together, you overhear other people. That is osmotic communication. I did not explain that. Okay, so this is Agile for you. Now let's do it with the questions. Okay. restart the question. Okay, Ji, what's your answer, guys? I don't see your answers, guys. What's your answers here? Okay, let's go with the question. What is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master to take to address both immediate delivery stability and systematic governance concern? A cross-functional Scrum team is iteratively enhancing a predictive compliance dashboard within a high regulated financial service environment. During multiple sprint, a regulatory license has bypassed product backlog refinement process and directly approached developer with urgent visualization adjustment tied to evaluation regulatory interpretations. Those mid iteration request has resulted in informal scope negotiation, erosions of goal, increased defect leakage, and inconsistent traceability concerns, amplified by prior audit findings that cited fragment requirements intake and insufficient governance alignment. The product owner has expressed frustration over reduced transparency, while developers feel compelled to accommodate compliance delivery urgency to mitigate organizational risk exposure. Okay, advise the owner to reprioritize while allowing the developer to continue. No, that's not your job. D, okay, it's still a good answer. I'll hold it. C, escalate it. No. Encourage developers to provisionally incorporate. No, that is not his job. What his job is facilitate a conversation among them so that we can actually solve the problem. Right? It is responsibility of a product owner to add anything, whatever the thing he feels. Right? Whatever the things he feel, it is his job, product owner job. So let's facilitate a discussion. Let's do that and we will confirm into that. So A is the right answer here. Question number B. Okay, so let's see the answer here. During a sprint, a cross-functional team developing a social media content moderation encounter feature conflicting stakeholders demands. Regional manager push for a rapid rollout to address harmful contact reports. While corporate leadership insists on alignment the solution with upcoming enterprise. Past audit highlighted plenty for compliance lapses. So what it should do, continue sprint work. Okay. Suspend, I cannot sprint, B is eliminated. Okay. Organize a rapid with compliance leadership to clarify. Okay. Consult to clarify prioritization, ensuring stakeholders align with strategic outcome. Acha ji, what's your answer here? I see D, Jamal, A. Why not C? Why not C, guys? Why not C? But who has the problem here? Who has the problem here? Many people are here. You see, the problem here is that during a sprint, content feature encounter conflicting the demands are problem. Regional managers push for rapid to address harmful content, while leadership insists on solution with enterprise data governance standard. Right? This is of course not the answer. This is not the answer. Many people are putting concern with the product owner to clarify prioritization, ensuring stakeholders are aligned. It has nothing to do with the product owner. We are not talking about that thing. It's a compliance problem. Product owner has nothing to do that. It has nothing to look into that. Here the problem is alignment with the compliance, engineering and leadership is not looking into that. We need to look into that way. Yes, consulting with the product owner can work into that. But this is a question. The problem is not about the value. The problem is about the compliance. So C is the right answer, guys. Don't just close your eyes and go with the product owner. Very important. First of all, let me ask you this question. This is ideal one. This is actual. Is a CPI good or bad? Or SPI good or bad? In this question, is SPI good or bad? First, I need this question. SPI is good or bad? I need the answer here. It's bad. Okay, SPI is bad because it's a burn down chart. It is a bow side. Okay, now answer. So what has happened in the question? The question has happened, the work was going and suddenly it is getting approved. So the team has optimized utilization by synchronizing task closure to maximum visible. No. The sprint C is not the answer because the scope remains the same. We did not re-estimated it. What is happening? We are working in batches and the work is completed in that way. So B is the right answer here. If you look at the question, the team has improved execution efficiency. No, if the execution efficiency was good, we would have been very good in the schedule. But SPI is bad, A is eliminated. Again, this goes the same way. Was likely re-estimated, reflecting improved forecasting. No, did not happen. We are doing in batch wise, so it is getting accepted in that way. Like when you are doing batch wise, something accepted now, something later on. So B becomes the right answer. Guys, are the questions very hard? I'm getting very few reply here. Okay, a Scrum team's sprint down chart shows a flat line for 8 days. That's good. So that's good. That is the purpose here. So if I basically in the option I cannot do like extend cannot be happen. C and D. Let's break down this question. I cannot do that. I cannot do that. We are left with A and B. Replace the burn down with burn up, again, it will not add any value. The only thing is they need to improve the visibility here. When the visibility is improved, they are able to answer them better. So A is the right answer. It's an easy question. G, what's the answer for this question? The daily scrum is derailed when two team members begin blaming each other for an integration failure involving a new risk scoring model. Past retrospective identified communication inconsistency but produced no concrete follow-up. Compliance has warned that inaccurate scoring could prompt regulatory review. Which of the following would not be an appropriate action? Calmly contain the stand-up and arrange where the involved members are relevant stakeholders. Okay. Ask the product owner determine accountability. G, what will your answer and why? Yes, 100%. Sankit, very well done. This question has a very specific thing which is not, which thing we should not do. Be very careful about the not questions. These not questions are very interesting. So don't do that. Okay? Not. So C is the right answer here. Next question. G, a day before the iteration review, a critical checkout defect is discovered that blocks end-to-end validation. The product owner wants a demo-ready increment, while the team work in progress limits are already tight and several stories remain partially done. The project manager asks the entire team to focus so the increment can still go. This represents collective focus to remove the blocker practice, the undermine informal group discussion, team members shift into that way. Okay, so what has happened here? The work in progress are already tight and several stories are done. Here, the project manager asks the entire team to focus on one thing. This is called swarming. Write it down in your notes. When the entire team focus on one task, and the entire team focuses on one task, this is called swarming. Why we do that? We do that to remove the blocker. D is the right answer here. I hope that makes sense to you guys more. Very important question. This question we have done before. Very interesting question again. Good question, student. So here straightforward scope has been added. So this is an easy question. B is the answer. Question number 8. Hi. A team experience increasingly cycle time and block bottlenecks in testing. The sprint burn down charts appear stable, yet delivery throughput is slowing. Throughput is like how much work you can do, which information radiator we can do. Okay, this is a very interesting question here because what is happening here? We are talking about throughput and bottleneck, which help us to identify bottleneck. That's the question here. Burn up chart does not help. Velocity trend chart does not help. Burn down chart does not help. Kanban board help us to identify bottleneck. Cumulative flow diagram is a graphical representation of Kanban board. It looks like this. So we identify the bottleneck into it. Very good question. G. In a global agile program delivering a bank application, the team completes a sprint and they gather for retrospective. They discussed missed testing coverage, communication gaps across, and propose adjustments. The product owner insists these insights must be tracked for compliance, while the Scrum Master highlights the improvements should feed into backlog refinement. So we need to basically here review the performance. What's the purpose of that? We need to review the performance. So B is the best answer here. B will be the answer. Beta. G. What's your answer? During an ongoing iteration, the CFO requests that a set of to delivered. The product owner emphasized that the backlog should, based on user feedback, should remain the priority. What is the most appropriate? Arrange a discussion to clarify expectation. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's go with this. What are not the right answer? This is not the answer. Okay. This is not the answer. Arrange a discussion with CMO to clarify expectation while the team continue working together. Work with the CMO, owner, and team to examine objective, align backlog, or ordering with the near-term value and addressing compliance consideration. Between these and this, the team continues work into that. If the team continuously work into that, you do that. Now every single one who have said A option, did you even read the C option? Really tell me, Mughal, Amrit, Asgar, Islam, Sankit, did you even read the option C? I told you again, and again. Elimination technique must be followed. Okay, that's why C is the right answer. C is better than A. Both answers are right, but C is better than A. Yeah, here the C will be the answer because we are facilitation. Here, most of you are right. In reference to the below image of the information radiator, what should the project he should conclude? Okay, so burn down chart. If we look at here on this, we were going on schedule, then bad happened. Okay, in burn up chart, if we look into that, we were going bad, good happened, and scope has been added here. Team is insufficient. Okay, that's true. Team lacks skills. I don't know. Planning is poor. Can be. Flow efficiency are the main issues. And if you look at the burn up chart, you look here, scope has suddenly been added into that. So burn up chart help us into this way. By the way, this question answer your that question that people keep on asking me, which chart should I use? So let me give this. Let's also make a short. I always get the question, shall I use burn up chart? Shall I use burn down chart? Both are equally good. But there's a special thing about a burn up chart that burn down does not have. So when a scope is added, which is called scope creep, burn down chart actually become very complex. It cannot show you easily. So scope has been added here. It is very difficult to see here. Whereas in a burn up chart, you can quickly see the spike. Spike goes up and the scope has been added. So that's the difference between burn up, burn down, and which is more relevant for you. By the way, can you answer the question that you see in the screen? So the right answer is C here in this question. Stakeholder release burn down chart make it difficult to distinguish between scope growth. So we just answer this question. So the previous question burn up chart will help you for that. Right? We already answered this question. That's so cool. So a team consistently meet with velocity targets, yet customer engagement with delivered features remain low. While the data science lead argues that the velocity fails to capture predictive accuracy or use sentiments, and marketing groups continue pressing faster output ahead of seasonal launch. So what we should do? Examine capacity trends. That's not a bad. Analyze flow efficiency using that's good. C is also good. But D is the best case scenario in this question. If you look at the D, it's a best case scenario. Okay. Multiple delivery teams depends on specialized component group or performance optimization. Risk were raised during retrospect. The absence of cross-stream visibility had left fragmented and the agile coach to seek techniques that ensure early detection and management of technical risk across teams. Which technique best ensure detection and management of cross technical? Rotating risk champion. Okay. Can we look into that? Maintain the share. Like if you look at the options, C is the only option where you look for the visibility, and agile is all about visibility. C is the right answer. Yeah, C is the right answer. We need to see how the predictive things work into that, how we can look into that way. Like retain planning for mechanical work. This is all about hybrid. When we want to move from the hybrid, how the delivery should be, predictive schedule as per there, and then combining it with the checkpoints in the agile way. The best combination becomes for us. Question number 17. What is the best course of action for agile team lead? During release planning, to senior contributor both assert responsibility. The disagreement intensified, creating tension and stalling progress. Other members hesitate to participate and cannot finalize. Reaffirm from the past, like what to reinform about that. Okay. we need to have a discussion and guiding to ways of this good request articulation permit. No, B is the right answer. Okay, another burn down chart. Today we have a lot of these questions. In reference to the below image, a burn down chart shows actual line fluctuating, several flat lines, actual line fluctuating, flat lines, final sprint day shows rush completion, suddenly completion. What does this indicate? This is basically scope did not added, we did not have overstaffing. This is basically when you have a date, you start working into that and suddenly complete it. Like now the 2 hours are almost completed for the class. I'm trying to complete the questions quickly. So this is exactly what happened in this question. C is the right answer. Okay. Senior management requires a velocity chart from multiple teams to be compared. What should they do that? It's a very interesting question. The thing is that we cannot compare velocity of two teams. Cannot. The reason being, it's a lightweight estimation. They have estimated a different point of view. You just cannot compare the velocity of two teams. A distributed agile team maintain a physical task board, but remote stakeholders are rarely receive updates. Sprint review discussions, misunderstanding despite a detailed task board. So what is happening here? You need to have an information radiator that is accessible to all of them. Now, what is the purpose of having an information radiators if you do not share that? So A is the right answer. So that's your question answer session for today. How was it for all of you? Did you enjoy it? So guys, those who are not my students, tomorrow we are having a class. You can join that program. If you are my student, you do not need to pay anything. If you are not my
Recording
student,
in progress. Recording stopped.
my program training fees is $899, and this program is designed that you become certified PMP in the minimum possible time. That is the purpose here. That is the goal here. So my number is there. You can see my number. If that makes sense to you, you can join my program. And
Recording in progress.
we can start working into it. By the way, I need your feedback. How the questions were. Martina made those questions. Initial questions were tough. Other questions were okay for you. Everyone has booked the exam, no? Those who are my students. So with that, I wish you best of luck to everyone. See you in the next coaching call. Bye-bye.
I would have not been able to clear the exam if Amir Ali would have not been there. I would have not been.
I did not believe that I will be able to clear my PMP within a month.
I don't know what to say actually, like I'm kind of like really
I got my results and I was above target in all 3 categories.
Wow.